So the last time we formally spoke, I know you and I talk often, but on a podcast, it was all Onision all the time, and you call him the Psycho Brad out of Seattle that you and I went to visit
Absolutely.
in January of 2020, which was an interesting trip out to Seattle.
It certainly was.
We made some videos out there and saw you knocking on his door, and then he filed a complaint against you where we had to hire lawyers in Seattle to get that dismissed, which was done fairly easily. But since January, I want to talk to you about what's been going on with that investigation. I know the police in every department in every city around this country has kind of had to slow down because of COVID.
Absolutely.
Now that COVID is hopefully ending, they're dealing with peaceful protests, hopefully some rioting. So people like Onision are taking a back seat to police investigations. And I'm curious if that's what's happening in Seattle. If you know, catch us up.
Well, from the time I knocked on his door, when you and I were in the Seattle-Tacoma area, to now, there has been a lot of activity in that investigation. The Sheriff's Department in Pierce County, with which we dealt, has continued its investigation. They put together a hotline, an email for information from victims. It's been very active. The detectives have been gathering that information. They have interfaced with the FBI in a task force based in Tacoma. The FBI has obtained cell phone and computer from one of the victims in the case, Sarah, and it has done a cart examination of the cell phones and the laptop. And they're putting that information together. And that was moving along pretty quickly with priority. The FBI doesn't take things like that to do a cart examination unless there's an open investigation. Sure. We had the Pierce County Sheriff's Department, Detective Bond, confirming the investigation, the existence of it. We knew based upon our door knock that there were some 19 police calls, complaints of potential criminal activity at Onision's address in 2019 alone, up to and including the fact that his 2-year-old daughter at the time fell out of a second-story window, and all the things that you and I know are related to that. So, COVID hits. One of the first hotspots, Seattle-Tacoma. Mm-hmm. They're overwhelmed, absolutely overwhelmed. They start to get back to normal. I mean, I was talking to Ed Troyer at the Sheriff's Department. They had at one point 17, 18, 19, 20 of their own first responders in public safety, either fire or paramedic or sheriff's deputies, out with COVID-19.
Terrible.
So then that happens, and now we have the protests. Look what's going on in Seattle. An entire precinct has been taken over by protesters. So where does the Onision investigation sit? It's active, it's happening, but world events have gotten in the way, and this happens.
But you're still hopeful based on the things that you're hearing
there'll
off
be
the
activity,
record.
Things that I'm hearing, the knowledge I have, what I know, what I've seen that's been transmitted, that very likely constitutes the transmission of inappropriate material to a minor. The engagement that occurred at the residence where I knocked on the door, those things will add up, in my opinion, to be a criminal complaint.
And bring some justice to the victims.
I think so. We're, in contact all the time. We talked about the Onision show, the Onision investigation on the show this week.
Whatever happened with the interview? So refresh my memory. We offered, he contacted you to be interviewed, demanded hundreds of thousands of dollars for an interview.
$350,000.
We didn't write him a check for that amount. And then I started getting emails directly from him saying, let's do an interview. I'm like, great, Chris wants to interview you. Name the time and place. We'll be there. and then he wanted to do it live on his channels where we would have no protection and you wouldn't be protected, and he could manipulate it, as we've seen him do
Right.
with interviews. Obviously,
Well,
a
as
professional
we've seen
journalist like
him
you, we can't do that.
Right, but we've also seen him engage in targeted harassment of me especially, and to some extent you, because
Sure.
you were out there.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we wanted to do a real interview, a safe interview, safe for everybody. Pull no punches, ask some honest questions, and he has refused to date.
He wanted to go live under an environment where he could control. And this is a guy who, has done porn online. Fine, whatever, it's adult content. But I'm not going to have that on a show attached to my name.
And you would do an interview with him in a neutral setting,
Absolutely.
with a real moderator that was safe for everybody.
Right. We don't even need a moderator. It's not a
Right.
debate. It's an
Right.
interview. If he wants to roll tape on it for his own reasons to use it, fine. But I'm not going to go live where he can make a mockery of it or do something that would be absolutely objectionable and inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what he'd want to do was do something live on my channel that was so obnoxious that could get us kicked off of YouTube. And I wouldn't put that past him.
No, absolutely not.
Notwithstanding the fact that multiple victims came to me and said, please, please, please don't disrespect us by putting him on live and making a mockery of us. So what am I supposed to do?
We don't trust him. He's
No.
not trustworthy. He has shown that.
Well, we'll give him another shot, but in a dignified, setting where we have some measure of control.
Okay, well, he knows how to get a hold of us if he wants to have a real interview with you, which would be interesting for his fans, I assume, and for people who subscribe to your channel.